Are Night Goblin Squig Hoppers any good in patch 6.0.4? Unlike the Fire and Forget Squig Herd, the Squig Hoppers are proper cavalry of a sort, and Night Goblins means they're more expensive and dish out poison while not being forced Goblin Spider Riders. That's fine. Now, are we getting enough for the cost? That's the question, so hold on, it's a very bumpy ride. Recruited for 650 gold and 163 upkeep, so already far ahead of Orc Boy's infantry. On Ultra, this gets you a full-size 60 entity unit with 5,880 health between Rider and Squig. Armor is 25, no shields whatsoever, but it's interesting that leadership is 60, high for a goblin unit of any sort. Speed 82 and charge speed 106 put them a lot closer to Wolf Riders than most things in the roster. Melee attack begins at 28, with each strike carrying poison, with a reasonable and mediocre attack interval of 4. Completely unlike the Squig Herd unit, there is no splash damage, but hey, lots more entities. Melee defense begins at 20, which reflects the Squigs not being particularly defensive in mindset to the extent they have any minds at all. Weapon strength 32 is split between base 10 and armor piercing 22 damage, with a bonus versus infantry of 10. It doesn't sound like much, but melee attack 38 with poison and weapon strength 44 versus infantry, leaning substantially armor piercing, are great numbers. If you're fighting more Noblars than Ogres, this unit has the stats to hit them hard. Charge bonus is 32 and mass is 750. Already we see a bunch of weird things. On paper, these units do not have more weapon strength than Orc Boar Boys, and it's more outsized against infantry, and they have 6 higher default melee attack. But Boar Boys have ridiculous charge bonus and are, as I've stated, shock cavalry cosplaying as something else. This is a unit I would much rather term as true melee armor-piercing cavalry. But of course, 25 armor. On top of these other perks, the unit has Hide in Forest, counts as a Squig unit, duh, has immunity to psychology because the mounts are too stupid for that kind of fear, they only understand pain, and importantly, has Vanguard deployment, a big step up from the Squig herds in that respect. In the Redline skills, Riders offers the usual plus 12% speed and plus 12 flat charge bonus at 3 pips, and starting with only 32 charge bonus means this is an extra big deal for them. Sneaky Stabbers will grant the usual benefits to rank 7 units, leadership plus 5, weapon strength plus 12%, and physical resistance 10%. As a goblin unit, More Grub provides leadership plus 5 and upkeep minus 5%. As seen previously, Creature Comforts reduces the cost of the building chain buildings by 15%, and Recruit Rank plus 2 is a nice perk, and Bouncin' provides speed plus 10% more and plus 25% more charge bonus. For scrap upgrades, this is a mix of other units we've covered. Squig Spikes from the Squig Herd video offers a bonus versus infantry of 5, adding to the existing 10, and charge bonus plus 20 flat. That is a very big deal, but you need critter crafting for this. You do not need a tech for Thicka Robes, providing leadership plus 10 and melee defense plus 5, and raising leadership to 70 is intriguing. Scrap Saddles does not require a tech to unlock and provides armor plus 15 and speed plus 15%. So how do we use the Squig Hoppers? As we've just gone over, the scrap upgrade upside is higher, though it's a big investment. What you get as a result is a Vanguard deployable, poison-inflicting unit of considerable speed, and eventually some pretty decent charge bonus, and while it doesn't hold up well in prolonged combat on paper, it dishes out a lot of armor-piercing damage, especially against infantry, so it's a legitimate dwarf killer. Is it as good at that job as the Squig Herd for more than double the price? Well, in theory it's better. You're just having to live with less splash damage, and that damage being divided is not always to your benefit. But yes, just having poison is very nice, and past that, the lack of rampage means you can bounce from one unit to another, devastating as you go. Basically, this becomes a hybrid between melee cavalry and shock cavalry, too flimsy to leave in combat, not enough charge bonus to be as good at that as some until you get more techs and scrap upgrades, but absolutely legitimate otherwise. For its low armor, consider just how immensely a unit like this can devastate higher tier cavalry. The key to doing that is remarkably simple. Tar pit them. It doesn't even matter what. Goblins with spears are probably an option, but anything up to and including heroes will do. It'll hurt the Squig Hoppers, but it'll also hurt the Reiksguard or whatnot. That's what you want and need out of this unit. As long as you don't overestimate its staying power, this is a legitimate mini glass cannon unit with outsized speed and flexibility. It's bringing much more pure fighting power than melee Wolf Riders, and does armor piercing the Spider Riders don't have. Just remember, there's not even dinky 30% missile block shields involved. These units are vulnerable to being focused, and the enemy knows that. Take care and have fun squeaking your way to close victories, or lopsided ones perhaps.